a business owner overwhelmed with projects, planning, and paperwork? Then Crystal Clear Communications is for you. Crystal Clear Communications provide business services to help you get back to what you love. From proposal development to social media and newsletters, Crystal Clear Communications help business owners get more done. Give Crystal a call at 419-215-0735 or just visit her on Facebook at Crystal Clear Communications.
Gorilla Studios is the area's premier recording studio.
419-705-2894.
Offering industry standard producing, mixing, and mastering. We are equipped to record full bands at once. Or for solo artists, we have access to professional musicians who can bring your songs to life. Locally owned and operated here in Toledo, Ohio. We serve all genres of music, major, minor, and indie artists.
419-705-2894.
Gorilla Studios, taking back music one song at a time.
Hey, Taylor Rapp here from the LA Rams. Shout out to Steve Taylor, the real sports guy, and the honorary Ram. When Steve's talks sports, you better listen. Thanks, Steve from the Rams, for your continued support and love. We are taking it all the way this year, but you already know that. Go Rams.
The show that you asked for is Keeping It Real Sports. I'm your boy. I'm a real sports guy. He is the Sandman. Andy Sands out of Sandman. Super Bowl is up on us.
Yeah, one more week, buddy. I know you can't wait based on the swag today, but
swag, can you feel the swag? Do you see the drip? Do you see the drip? Do you
Yep.
see it? Do you see it? Do you see it?
I see it.
You know, man, I tell you what, I even got the call, man. I got the call from my people, man, that are Rams. They said, Steve, do you want the new hat? Like we got you the last hat. Here's the last hat that they sent me. I got confidence. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Don't want that stinking hat. I want the real one. I want the next one. That's what I'm talking about. We got a big show planned for you today. As always, we're going to do our quick hitters. We're going to do our hurry up. We're going to sound off. As usual, we'll break down the championship game from last week, and we'll play the blame game. And, of course, we're going to give you the BDI, and Andy is going to give you his first NHL midseason report. We're going to do all of that next.
Let's get to the quick hitters.
Let's get to it. Quick hitters. Quick hitters.
All right, partner. It's a great week to be a Cavaliers fan. We were pressing for it to happen, and it finally happened. Darius Garland will be an all-star in 2022 here at Cleveland. So excited for this young man. He's having an outstanding season, averaging 19 points a game, 8 assists. Well-deserved. Fans around here felt like Jared Allen should have been there as well, but that's a tough lineup to crack, and Garland definitely earned his keep as far as getting in there and representing the hometown team.
Yeah, absolutely. He's done a great job. I tell you what, man, my quick hitter, the Washington football team, finally, they have a name. They are called the Washington Commanders, and that's kind of odd to me because it's only one commander in Washington. But that goes without saying. They have a name now, and that's the new look that you see right there. But controversy seems to follow the owner, Daniel Snyder.
Yeah,
Just saying.
yeah. Another report about possible
Yeah.
sexual harassment from a former
Not a good
employee.
look, bro. Not a good look.
No, and honestly, Steve, the name isn't going over well already around the fan base. So this will be interesting.
But that's how fans are. They didn't like the new Ram look. They didn't like the new Ram logo. I remember somebody named Andy Sanzada who shit on our logo. Man, it's like, dude, come on, man. The hardest thing for fans to do is to change.
Yeah, that's true.
Happens.
Listen, I'm going to throw that back up real quick. I think the color scheme is hot, though. I like the color scheme. I'm not sure about the name. I'm not sure about the name on the jersey, but I like the color scheme. It's pretty tight. I like it. I think they did well with that. Let's see if that carries over to winning the fans over.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, some people may or may not be aware, partner, that the Olympics have started already.
Yeah,
And that means that we could see a potential rematch from what to me was the highlight of the Pyeongchang Games in 2018, which was the U.S. women against the Canadian women in hockey, of course. But a couple big injuries here in early round-robin play. That's Melody Dawu for Team Canada. She went down with an upper body injury against Switzerland in a 12-1 victory. That one hurts, but this one, Steve, this is a big blow to Team USA. Brianna Decker, in her third Olympics, out for the rest of the tournament. She was in agonizing pain, as you can see there on the screen. It was not pretty. She was screaming. You could hear her in the empty arena. We don't have enough time to get into that, but let's see if Team USA can rally around her injury and get another gold and repeat.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to tonight, man, since there's a law, man, in sports. Yeah, that right there. Keith Thurman against Mario Barrios. Who the heck is Keith Thurman? Well, Keith Thurman was the former welterweight champion. He's the guy who lost a split decision to Manny Pacquiao. Who is Mario Barrios? Mario Barrios was the guy who was taking it to Tank Davis and was actually up in the scorecards before he got stopped in the 11th round. Both of them are on a comeback fight. They're looking to possibly face the undefeated Terrence Crawford. I'm looking forward to that tonight. That's Thurman, Barrios. I would definitely be tuned into that one.
Yeah, I know you're excited about that fight. A lot of people are as well. There have been some really good fights this year. I think we'll add that one to the
boxing
list.
They're starting to make these guys fight, man. I kind of like that.
Yeah. It's drawing in more of an audience for sure. All right, well, there we go. There you have it. Those are the quick hitters for this week. And, Steve, we forgot to mention at the top of the show a milestone episode here. We're on number 20 this week.
Yeah,
hard to believe already, isn't it?
It goes fast, doesn't it? That kind of – and speaking of going fast, we got to hurry up. So let's get into it.
Hurry up.
A lot of stories this week, partner, but obviously have to start with the biggest one in terms of a legacy coming to a conclusion. Tom Brady, there you go. That's the last image you'll see of Tom Brady on a football field. Finally, after 22 years, has had enough of the NFL. And I respect the way he did it as well. He held off from the hype around the championship games last weekend. He knew that this was the right week to make it official because there isn't anything going on. Nobody watches the Pro Bowl. Come on, let's be honest. That's why we're not even going to talk about it today. But how is it going to be next year for the first time in 22 years to go into an NFL season without the greatest quarterback to ever play the game?
Yeah, Matthew Stafford retired him. Just saying. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Okay. We always got to make it about the Rams, but come on.
Right now, yes, we do. We do.
All right.
Baby.
That's fine. But, you can't say, obviously, if there ever was a
great
lock
career,
for a first ballot Hall of Famer, it's Tom Brady.
Hell, give it to him tomorrow.
Yeah.
We ain't got to wait. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, but, Steve, there was actually a bigger story that hovered around the NFL, and it wasn't a good one.
Yeah. Brian Flores, he files a first-class action lawsuit against the NFL, naming 3 teams in particular, naming the New York Giants, calling it a sham, naming the Miami Dolphins as well as the Denver Broncos, saying that the Denver Broncos, when he met with them, 3 years ago for that coaching position that, let's just say, they were late and say they had a late night out. We'll put it like that real nicely. The whole thing is, man, these interviews are a sham for African American coaches. I'll get farther into that later on. But this here particular lawsuit it was a bombshell dropped on the NFL. This is one that I don't think Brian Flores, he may not ever be able to coach again. It may cost him his coaching career, which is a damn shame. But somebody has to talk and somebody has to speak out. I mean, just put yourself in his position. If you were going for a job interview that you knew you had no damn chance in getting, I mean, why go?
Yeah,
especially if you knew it.
We talked about this a few weeks back, right? I mean, the NFL has to do something about this. They put all these messages on their helmets, they put them in the end zone, but they're hypocrites, Steve, because they aren't even fixing what's happening internally.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We had a hell of a weekend last weekend.
We had the the championships games with the AFC and the NFC championships, both of them not anticlimactic. Kansas City jumps out to the big lead, erased by Joe Cool and the Bengals, and then the 49ers jump out to a lead, and then the Ram defense come alive and shut them down, man. Let's get into it and let's talk a little bit about the AFC championship game, Andy. Let's talk about that one first.
Well, I think the thing that was a little alarming to me was how complacent Kansas City was in the second half. And I'm sorry, Steve. I sent you a text, and you have it on record. I sent you a text when they didn't go for the field goal at the end of the first half. And I said, this is going to cost them the football game. And sure enough, it did. And so for that reason, I think we have to play the blame game on this game and have to look no further than this man right here.
And see, Andy, the reason that it's his fault is because he is the guy. If we rewind the clock, people, if we take away the one Super Bowl that they won, okay, Andy Reid has always come up short in those situations, time and time again in 1-yard situations. Let's go back to when he had Donovan McNabb. Couldn't get a yard then in Philadelphia. Philadelphia fan know well exactly what I'm talking about. The inability of the Philadelphia Eagles to be able to get short yardage situations. This happened time and time and time again. So this is no surprise to me. You got to play the blame game. You got to look at him. Man, I'm tired of this guy getting a pass for what Mahomes did a couple of years ago. It was Mahomes' magic that did that. I mean, yeah, maybe he called the plays, but dude, you were calling the plays when Donovan McNabb was a quarterback too. How many rings did you get? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Yeah. All these coaches now with all this analytic bullshit, they keep going for it on fourth down.
Okay.
Take the points.
Okay.
Take the points.
Okay. You sit your ass at home and you watch the Rams and the Bengals play.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take the points, especially when you get the ball to start the third quarter. You just gave them all the momentum they needed to get the stop that they needed, which they did, to start the second half. Take the points. And not only the fact that they went for it, Steve, but that play call was atrocious. You basically said, you guys can stop us.
Again,
that's
but
fine.
if you rewind the tape, and if you look at the top of that route, he had Travis Kelce on the slant, but he didn't look for Travis. I'm just telling you. You know. So we're talking conference championships and the AFC, NFC. We talked about the AFC. Let's look at the NFC game, man. Andy, give me your thoughts on what transpired in the NFC championship game. Do you put the blame on Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, I don't think you can. I know he threw an interception to that looked bad at the end, Steve, but the blame wasn't on anything the 49ers did wrong. It was on this. I mean, that Ram defense looked like they wanted the Super Bowl that week. So I'm scared for Cincinnati and their fans, not really because I don't want them to win, but about what he's going to do with a worse offensive line than San Francisco had. But the Rams knew what they had to do to win that game, Steve. That defense knew, because of what happened a couple of weeks ago, that they better stop Debo and they better stop Elijah Mitchell and they have to make blocking that running game the number one priority. They did that, and once San Francisco wasn't able to run the football, they became one-dimensional, and that's where people are going to criticize Garoppolo. But I don't think you can fault him because he did what he was able to do against, to me, the best defense in the NFL in the last month.
Man, well, it's a mentality, Andy, and you could see it from the first snap. You saw it from the very first snap, setting the edge. The ability of that guy in the back, number 20, Eric Weddle. Nobody's talking about him, but his ability to come up and understand tackling angles to where some of the younger safeties was kind of struggling. Even my boy Taylor Rapp kind of struggled, man, in the wide open field. But the knowledge of Weddle coming down in that box, giving them that extra presence. Greg Gaines was phenomenal. Ashawn Robinson was phenomenal. Of course, the stars were the stars, but man, those are the guys that allow the Rams to get to Super Bowl Sunday and allow this thing to go down on Super Bowl Sunday, man, which should be a pretty damn good game, Andy.
I think they're trying to hype it as a good game, for ratings and to get people to watch. Now, the one thing the NFL has going for them is they have a major market team in the Super Bowl. Okay, so that's going to help them with getting, sponsors and commercials and everything. But I will say this. If Cincinnati doesn't protect Joe Burrow, this thing's over in the first half. And we're going to get to our prediction next week.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, we're just kind of.
But we're not going to do
it. Man.
We're just kind of teasing it.
I'm gonna tell you this, Andy.
That's going to be the difference in the game, Steve. Is Cincinnati's offensive line against the Rams' defensive line. That's going to be where the game is won.
Well, I'm going on a show right after I get off of here with done with our show to talk specifics on the Super Bowl. And from the Rams' point of view, and in particular, 3 things that Cincinnati could do to upend the Rams. And so I'll share them here first.
Okay. Remember, we're on a time crunch.
Yeah. Zach Taylor, because he understands it. He was there at the beginning. He was there day one when Sean McVay came in. Number 2, Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. And then number 3, Joe Mixon, the ability to run the football. Those are 3 reasons right there. So just to kind of give it to you.
I mean, listen, there's a reason the Bengals are in the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to break this thing down in every
we'll do that.
position
We'll do that.
in so many ways next week. So tune in for that, folks. But we got to get going. Let's take a little break, Steve, and then I think we got a mid-season report coming, plus the BDI top 10
and that.
An epic sound-off from both of us coming up on Keeping It Real Sports.
Car won't start? Or maybe your computer needs a new battery. For all your battery needs, it's Batteryland, 2502 Woodville. Call Big John, and he not only offers you best in battery warehouse services, but he also offers services for your auto and your light truck. His prices will not only meet or beat, I said beat, the competition. Batteryland, 2502 Woodville. Give him a call today, 419-691-2000. That's Batteryland, your battery warehouse.
Hey, Taylor Rapp here from the LA Rams. Shout out to Steve Taylor, the real sports guy, and the honorary Ram. When Steve talks sports, you better listen. Thanks, Steve from the Rams, for your continued support and love. We are taking it all the way this year, but you already know that. Go Rams.
Welcome back to Keeping It Real Sports. I am the Sandman, Andy Sanzada. He is the real sports guy, Steve Taylor. And My friend, it's hard to believe, but it is All-Star weekend in the NHL. And later this afternoon, we're going to have the NHL All-Star game. Last night, we had a thrilling NHL skills contest. I don't know if you happen to catch some of that. They had some really cool events outside because they were in Las Vegas with the Bellagio water fountains and shutting down the street for interesting game of blackjack with hockey pucks. But here we are at the midseason. So let's take a real quick look at what's going on in the NHL as we start to prepare for a little bit more in-depth breakdown of the NHL as the NFL season will come to a conclusion next week. But here you go, Steve. These are the 10 best teams based on points alone in the standings right now. At the top, you've got the Florida Panthers at 69 points. Colorado, who was once again my Stanley Cup pick. I got it wrong last year. I'm not going to get it wrong this year. I'm standing by that. Colorado Avalanche at number 2, tied with the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Carolina's right there. They got themselves a goaltender when they acquired Frederik Andersen from the signing him away from Toronto in the offseason. But the New York Rangers are the surprise in the NHL this year, Steve. Igor Shesterkin is playing better than any other goaltender in the league, and Artemi Panarin is starting to look like the $10 million player he was supposed to be a couple years ago when they got him from Columbus. Pittsburgh is always going to be there as long as Sidney Crosby's on the ice. Toronto's always going to be there as long as Austin Matthews is on the ice. But they're getting goaltending this year from Jack Campbell, who's an all-star. So watch out for the Maple Leafs. But the Nashville Predators coming up out of nowhere to surprise a lot of teams, but they have an outstanding goaltender in UC Saros and the best defenseman in the NHL, in my opinion, and Roman Josi. Minnesota getting great goaltending from Cam Talbot and their outstanding young talent, Kirill Kaprizov. And then, of course, as long as the grade 8's playing, you're going to have the Capitals in the picture as well. So your St. Louis Blues are right there also. They're just outside of those top 10 teams. I believe they would be in the playoffs if they were to start right now. But you've got some young talent in St. Louis, Steve, and a rookie winning the fastest skater contest last night. Pretty spectacular to watch him go
Man, it's
around
just
the ice like that.
it's just the halfway point, man. You know,
Yeah.
At the halfway point of the football season, nobody was talking about the Rams either. So, you know, I'm not.
Yep.
I don't put a lot of I look at where you trend, and they're trending nicely. So there he is. There's our first look at our hockey break as they go into the All-Star break. Real quick, let's throw up our top 10 BDI for college hoops.
We're having technical difficulties here, partner. Hang tight. Don't know what's going on.
Not a lot of change here, but real quick, because we really don't have a lot of time. Gonzaga's still number 1. We had number 1 Auburn, number 2 Purdue makes a big leap. The biggest jump was Kentucky coming into the top 10. At number 4, number 5 we got Houston. Number 6 we got Arizona. By the way that they beat UCLA the other night. Baylor number 7, Duke 8, Kansas number 9, UCLA number 10. And Andy, man, really, you really had a little dispute with Purdue. But man, they really handled the Buckeyes, man, from start to finish. They were up 20 points at one point, and that it was just a valiant effort by the Buckeyes to cut it short, cut it close, and make it close at the end. But
they were up by 20, but they had to hit a buzzer beater to win the game. So
yeah, it was. It was a great comeback.
Yep.
You know, you saw the young kids, but that kid in the middle, man, he was a handful. He was an absolute handful. But you saw Liddell start to come to life. Branham start to come to life for the Buckeyes that really gave him a shot in the arm. But Purdue closed it out, man. Again with Ivy beating the Buckeyes again with a buzzer beater. But the talent alone, man. I mean, you really can't knock Purdue, man. You really can't. I really like what they're doing. I think they're the best team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, we've said that all along. I just my only gripe was putting them as high as 3. I thought they should have moved up to 5 because the way Kentucky's playing, I think that they're number 3 right now. But you know, it's apples and oranges really.
Toshiba just had a big game, the kind of game that the transfer from West Virginia finally had the game that I expected him to have. I mean, this dude leads the nation in rebounds.
but he finally put it together on both ends, and it wasn't just Toshiba. It was just an all-out bushwhacking on the boards, man, for Kentucky. They really went after Kansas, and they really got after them on the defensive end.
So, partner, as you know, we've been in a lot of live broadcasts before where things don't always go right?
Correct.
So I'm telling people on live television we're having technical difficulties on the back end, so you're going to have to run the rest of the show on your end, partner. But I don't know what's going on here, but hopefully I won't drop out of the broadcast. So, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to let you run it from here on the production side. But yeah, I mean, Gonzaga, that's the third week in a row, Steve, that they've been number one, and third week in a row that we've had Auburn at 2, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah. So here we go, man. So Andy, that brings us to sound off, man.
Well, you and I are both sounding off on the same topic, just in different directions, if you will. Sorry. If you would throw that one up there for me with Haslam and Hugh Jackson. So Hugh Jackson comes out after Brian Flores comes out with his lawsuit and says, hey, I tried to tell you guys a while ago that Jimmy Haslam was paying me to lose football games. Okay. If this is true, which I believe it is, Jimmy Haslam has to be reprimanded to the extent of having to sell the football team. Okay. This has been going on in Cleveland for way too long, Steve. Way too long. And it's time that somebody else buys this franchise because this fan base deserves better. We deserve better, Haslam. Okay. Now, granted, Hugh Jackson's not a good football coach. He's not. He's a great coordinator. He's a fantastic coordinator, and somebody should hire him as an offensive coordinator. He's just not a good football coach because he's not a good leader. Okay. That has nothing to do with the class action lawsuit. I want to clarify that right away. All right. He's just not a good coach. But if this is true, and there are allegations from Flores that Miami did the same thing, and you're going to take that side of it because you have more of a say in it than I do, obviously. Enough is enough, Cleveland. Enough is enough. There's a reason that players are going out to other teams once they leave here, Odell Beckham Jr., and telling people like Von Miller, before this season even started, by the way, hey, don't come to Cleveland. I know you want to win a Super Bowl, but you're not going to do it here because the culture is shit. Okay? You know why the culture's shit? Because the owner's shit. And I've had enough. Sell the fucking team. That's it.
Well, I'm going to sound off on the other part of the Brian Flores suit. Some of us may not know, but allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly, this man here walked down, saw in his will to walk down and knock on the head coach, Brian Flores' door, an African-American coach who was at the time only one of 3 African-American coaches coaching in the National Football League, to knock on his door and offer him $100,000 to lose football games. Let me say that again. $100,000 to lose football games, knowing that African Americans don't get a second chance, knowing that African American coaches do not get recycled like some of their counterparts. Let's just look at this hiring cycle. We got guys like Nathaniel Hackett, who's got his first job. Hell, for crying out loud, Josh McDaniels has also gotten a head football coaching job. Matt Eberflus has got Brian Daboll. You get what I'm saying? These guys have never had coaching jobs, and Josh McDaniels was a flat loser. This man won. Ain't that what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to win. So 20 years ago, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Art Rooney, he establishes this rule. And at the time, in 2003, it was 3 black coaches, as you can see. At the time, in 2020, it was 3 black coaches. So obviously this rule is not working. Now there's one. And the only one is hired by the man who made the damn rule. That's the only reason he's got a job. So, long story short, for a league that is employed by 73% African Americans, and we only have one African American coach, and you can kill me miss me with the two other minorities, Rivera and Robert Saleh. You can miss me with that. We're talking about black coaches. We're talking about black coaches. I mean, has anybody mentioned Eric Bieniemy's name for a coaching job? Don't worry, I'll wait. It's not getting any better. Got to fix it. That's my sound off for the week, my friend.
And a good one at that, Steve. And I wish we could give you more time because there's a lot more to say there. And it's just something has to change. There's no question about it. And I feel for you as an African-American football fan. But, it just goes to show you that money is power. And that is something that has to change.
It is like that because the people that run the league are used to working with people that look like them, and that's just it.
Yep,
and that's it. So there it is. Another week is in the books.
20 episodes. Congratulations, partner. We're only getting started.
Hey man, it's gonna get greater just a little bit later. We thank each and every last one of you. Remember to comment, drop a comment. Those comments definitely help with the algorithms. We definitely appreciate that. And until next week,
we wish you love
and peace. Deuces.
Did you end it?